Greetings, cartographers. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series covering RimWorld Odyssey named Grav Runners. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the details of this series, please use YouTube chapters. A team of explorers are hired by the Cartographers Guild to update the map charts for a planet, and their ship crashes upon arrival. The three survivors feared that they'd be forever in debt to the guild, so they decide to use their knowledge and build a new Grav Ship from scratch, and continue their mission of charting the planet. Unfortunately, their new Grav Ship core is being tracked by a local mech hive cluster that pursues them. They must continue their survey mission while also evading the hive, hopefully finding a way to depart from the planet once their survey is complete. The scenario here is Cassandra Classic losing his fun. The scenario, or rather that's a storyteller, the scenario is a modified Crashlanded, so there is no starting pet, and I've added a pursuing Mechs, but with an extra delay, which requires some save game editing. Basically, pursuing Mechs usually gives you 12 hours to outrun the Mechs, but in my edited version, you get about 5 days, a little less. The rules is no war crimes, but what is a war crime is up to me, because, you know, that I'm Geneva now. And no hostility towards neutral factions. Basically, we aren't going to betray anyone. We're here to survey. We're not here to, like, pillage and murder. The goals is to survey the world and to get off the planet. The DLC is Odyssey. The mods is, well, basically just one UI mod and one sound mod. And the underlying goal of the series is to showcase the content of Odyssey. Also, I won't be spoiling anything unless it's relevant to what I'm working on, so I'm not going to be talking about, like, the end game or any of the events that aren't completely relevant to what we're currently working on. So here's the little world we have. This is what's in space. We have some Trader Guild docks, we have some asteroids, and then on the planet, we have us. We have landed in a grassland, and the grassland has a pond. It's windy with a pond. So here is what it looks like. Grasslands are particularly flammable map tiles. Rain doesn't come in when it sets fire. As you can see, there's not a lot of trees, there's not a lot of ore, and this one has a pond. Our starting characters. We've got Glitch. Papa Glitch is a scientist. He's a quick sleeper, sanguine, and kind. We got Ruinloth, who's bloodlust, trigger-happy, and iron-willed. He was kind of the muscle of the survey group. And then Klein, the engineer of the survey group. Industrious, ascetic, and great memory. Alright, right at the start here, you can see that this is a basic grassland map tile with an ancient danger that I won't be touching. And let's go ahead and start stockpiling everything right here. What I'm going to do is allow everything on the map tile, and let's change some work priorities. Firefight, bed rest, or actually not bed rest, basic, patient, warden, handle, cook, hunt, construct, grow, mine, smith, craft, tailor, arts, and research. At the start, what I want to do is I want to set up a simple research bench in a laboratory. So I am going to create a very micro laboratory using the flagstone that's underneath, because why reinvent the wheel? And there's our lab. I'm going to be collecting resources from around the map, so let's head out to the ship chunks. I'm going to do a quick search. Of course, we're crash landed, so there should be some ship chunks. There's 1, 2, and 3. All right, Klein, I'm going to have you go out to this one. And Ruinloth, we're going to put construction for you at a 4, and you go out to this one. Or actually, Klein, I'm going to have you build this stuff. And then Glitch, you are going to grab some supplies and move it to the center here. Weapons. So, Glitch, I'm going to give you the knife. Ruinloth, I'm going to give you the bolt-action rifle and the helmet. And then Klein, the revolver. Alright, let's get collecting. Now, as I mentioned at the start, we have a very limited amount of time until the mechs come and murder us. I happen not to like to be murdered, So we ought to try to avoid that. Sounds fair to me. Also, I didn't mention in the details, the factions and world generation are all on its default values. That can all be found in the details as well. All right, so some basic things we're going to want is a table, stools, horseshoe pin, chest table, some beds, and this is something that Klein's going to work on, while Ruinloth is going to haul materials in, and then eventually go for the ship chunks that are out there for its components and the like. All right. The only one Cryptoslick is Klein at the moment. We do have some stab scars that we have to accommodate. So Ruinloth, for instance, does not run at full speed. And that's going to be a bit of a constraint for him until we get some sort of bionic alternative, I suppose. All right, let's get that research bench going. And then I stuck a little torch in there for him as well. Oh, he's busy puking. All right, Ruinloth, I'm going to have you go for the ship chunks. And we're just piling up all our earthly goods here so that they're safe and sound. All right, let's go ahead and set up a roofed area. So this is a roofed laboratory. And we have our mechanoid signal. You've detected a signal from a mechanoid ship in orbit. The ship has malfunctioned and is slowly losing altitude. By falsely responding to the signal, you can make the ship crash land nearby, letting your salvage value grav tech. So, if you're wondering, to break out of the lore a little bit, in a new game start, you usually get a mech signal within the first few days or so. But for this scenario, I've programmed it to be almost immediate because mechs are chasing us. Normally, when mechs are chasing you, you only get 12 hours, but I've modified that to be a few days because it's not reasonable to build a grav ship in 12 hours. That would be impossible. The mechanoid signal is going to trigger for everyone regularly in the same way that, like, if you're playing royalty, you're going to have the knight who's being chased by, like, a bunny, and that's always going to happen. So the mechanoid signal is more or less a guaranteed introduction to grav ships when you have Odyssey enabled. I, however, just modified it so it happens sooner. So we'll accept the signal, and then it's going to crash land somewhere on this map tile. Hopefully not on me, but we'll see. There we go. Grav engine. So the grav engine is the core. It's the heart of your grav ship. It is a not buildable thing. Do not let it get destroyed or you're screwed. It comes with some mechanoid ship chunks. It comes with something called gravlight panels. Gravlight panels are essentially the building material for grav ships. And then, of course, some like escort mechs. And what I'm going to do is have Glitch come over here and inspect the grav engine, figuring out what the hell it is. And then I'm also going to have Klein and Ruinloth start looting that stuff. Because, you know, that stuff, wee bit important. So after I break down this ship chunk, we'll have Ruinloth head over that way. And then, let's have Klein build a little table so I can eat with a table. All right, amongst the remnants of the crash mechanoid platform, a still intact grav engine hums with energy. You can build grav ship substructure around the engine and to create a new grav ship. The engine pushes against gravity, levitating the ship and allowing long-distance travel. Launch a grav ship by researching basic grav tech, build fuel tanks, thrusters, and a pilot console. Launching a grav ship will abandon your current map tile unless you build a grav anchor first, which we don't have the tech for. So it unlocks the grav ship substructure flooring, which is the only floor allowed. Well, the substructure actually is underneath your floor. So if you build the substructure, you can then build, like, you know, fancy tiles or sterile tiles or carpet on top. It doesn't really matter. And then basic grav tech research. All right, Mr. Glitch. I want you to haul the GravTech engine over here. Because I don't really want to be building a ship over in the end of nowhere over there. That don't really interest me. Likewise, apparel policy is going to be worker for everybody, because I don't need you putting on flak. Also, I am not really sure why you stripped off your clothing. So I'm going to forbid the flak. You're already slow moving enough as it is. All right, Mr. Runeloth. I am going to have you caravan some of the Gravlight panels over to us, because we don't really have a lot of time to waste, and, well, I don't like getting murdered, as I previously had mentioned. So let's load up the Gravlight panels into our caravan and haul them over east. And there we go! The Mech Hive scanning process is close to your determining your location. It locates your Grav Ship. It will send a massive mechanoid force to kill you. Gather your supplies and flee the map by selecting the pilot console and selecting launch. So mechanoid threat is coming in 4 days, 22 hours. That is all the time I have to be on this map tile until I am super murdered. And as I said, I don't enjoy being super murdered, so I don't intend to stick around very long. So it is time to research basic GravTech. So basic GravTech is offered unlocked in the same way that if you have a mech band, you will get like basic mechs unlocked. And it allows you to build a grav hull, pilot console, chem fuel tanks, thrusters, and a field extender. And I'll be talking about this as I build it. So don't worry, I'll be covering what all of it is. All right. So the structure, the substructure is only one type of flooring. And it's made of Gravlight panels, 1 per tile, and steel. As you can see, the engine can only connect up initially to 500 of these. And then it also has a range. So I cannot build outside of this sphere of influence. It also does not require power. So what I'm going to be doing is setting up a footprint for a ship. Actually, you know what? I don't even want to build it here because I don't want to run into the chunks. I don't want to have to compete with chunks because I don't need to be hauling chunks. That's a waste of my time. So I'll put it over here. All right, let's lay out the ship. At the front of the ship, we're going to have the console, which is the 2x3. And then I want walls around the console. Diagonal walls are fine. Then we have the heart of the ship. We're going to need thrusters in the back. I'll start with 2. What I want to do is I want to add in space for chem gens, because the ship will not have power initially. And then I want it to have some sort of like wings or winglets of sorts. I'm going to make it look not like a Borg cube, because that's boring. There we go. I think it's a decent footprint for a starter ship. And Runeloth, you have a bunch of Gravlight panels, so let's have you haul steel back. And we're just going to keep looting this site with Runeloth caravanning as fast as possible. So here's the thing. We have 157 total substructure panels, and I have more than enough Gravlight panels to accommodate that. All right, glitch. I need you researching as a top priority. So I'm going to put your research up to 1. And you need to research basic GravTech so we can actually build the rest of the ship. So at this moment, I can only build the sub panels. That is it. And Klein should be coming over here to break these ship chunks. And then Runeloth will go scoop up the ship chunks and move them into position. And if you're wondering about moving the Gravlight panels to immediate... Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Immediately around the ship or stockpile, it doesn't really matter because I'm actually physically dumping them there. Glitch, what is your Your construction skill is not good enough. Okay, so I'm missing enough wood to build that. Let's go ahead and have you try, because I would like to have this be a laboratory. Of course you failed. Alright, well, what if it was steel? Okay, what if it was still steel? There we go. So now this is laboratory and without research speed penalties. So blowing up or removing these mechanoid ship chunks is giving steel and gravelite panels. Gravelite panels are a lot more rare than steel. So if I had to pick between what to grab, obviously the gravelite panels are going to be a lot more important because I can get steel just about anywhere. It's pretty plentiful on this planet, but the panels not so much. The panels eventually you can make, or there's places to find them. It's not a big deal if you don't grab them all. There will be many opportunities to fetch them. But for now, we'll treat them as precious. I don't have machining, so the mech corpses don't really matter to me. They're not going to really provide much benefit. All right, heading over and trying to pick it up. So we are grabbing the gravelite panels. With Runloth, Klein, I want you to grab a big stack of steel. And then what I'm going to do is create a high priority stockpile here. Critical. Steel. And Grav. That's where we're going to store the stuff. There we go. Alright, it does look like I am completely out of wood for these beds. So instead of the wood beds, I'm going to go with steel beds because I'm going to want to sleep with a roof over my head. And being out of wood, it's not going to be made out of wood. Alright, Runloth. Let's have you go for one more batch of steel over here. Wildlife. We have bison, muffalo, boomlopes, vultures, turkeys, raccoons. So nothing really easy to hunt. Everything has like a revenge chance if it's big. Copy that. Good to know. And we are down to 4.5 days. Alright, I do see that there's more gravelite panels here. Oh, and this vulture had the ship land on it. Oh, that sucks. That's brutal. Alright, so we got 3 good beds. I think what I want to do is to not sleep outside, because I really don't need mood breaks right at the start here. So we'll drop a very quick roof over our heads. And then Runloth, you're unloading inventory, that's fine. And I'm just going to force Klein to make the... There we go. The little pop-up shelter, if you will. Alright, Runloth. There should still be steel down here. Oh, components. We brought the steel back up with us. That's not the right thing to grab. Alright, now Klein is laying out the gravelite panels and then heading to sleep. So there's first night. We've got 700 steel, 400 gravelite panels, and there's a few extra steel and panels over there, and then there's other ship chunks that we don't have yet. The guy with the knife just got a shooting frenzy. Cool. Well, I'll make sure to shoot real fast with that thing. Pew, 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 pew. All right, laboratory is clean, research speed is full, and we are about a third of the way through GravTech. And he's a quick sleeper, so he's already at it, even though it's 3 in the morning. Although I'm up at that hour too, so who's to say he's wrong in that? Roms and Dom, and C to keep, and to Sagan, thank you for the gifted subs and the resubs. All right, Mr. Ruinloth. What I want you to do is head over to the ship chunk because components are going to be pretty precious pretty early on. All right, cramped interior. Yes, I know, I know. I'm getting this built as fast as possible. The other thing I have to worry about because of the grasslands and because it's extra windy is fires. There's no fire mechanic here to stop fires, so gotta be real careful. Fires will spread unabated. All right, where was the steel? I'll find you steel. Oh my god, so much compacted steel. Whatever. It's a little bit of steel. It won't kill me if I don't find it. Miss Key, thank you for the resub. Now, the Grav substructure has a full walk speed, and then it has slightly faster to clean. Not as fast as like sterile tiles, but not bad to clean either. So, in a pinch, you can definitely leave it as your default flooring. Not a problem. All right, at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to start moving over all the stuff from here to the ship, or where the ship will be. And I'm going to edit the policy here and say, okay, it's already no flak. Got it. Flak helmets will be allowed. All right, don't bother with the pikemen. So, update. Don't bother with corpses or chunks. Our basic grav tech is nearly done. And then after we get basic grav tech, biofuel refining is going to be pretty important. Because grav ships are fueled with chem fuel. And without a source of chem fuel, we are dead in the water. So basic grav tech is done. Let's get biofuel refining. So basic grav tech. Here we go. Let's talk about it. You have a hull. The hull here is airtight. Without a hull that's airtight, if you go into space, you suffocate and die. Don't go into space without a grav ship hull. The grav ship hulls can be made of metal. So if I had plasteel or uranium, I could also make it out of plasteel and uranium. Obviously, plasteel and uranium hulls are tougher than steel hulls, but the steel hulls, fortunately, are not flammable. The grav ship steel hulls are not flammable. I'll say it again. Grav ship steel hulls, not flammable. You don't need to worry about them burning. They're not super tough, but they're pretty tough too. Internal walls don't have to be grav ship hulls. You just need the outer skin of your ship to be grav. All right, other parts we just unlocked. The pilot console. Well, you can't fly without one, so get one. We have small chem fuel tanks. They hold the fuel for your ship. You've got thrusters. They thrust your ship. The more thrusters you have, the more it is easy to control your ship, meaning you crash less often. And then grav field extenders. Grav field extenders allows you to expand your ship in a specific direction based upon where you build it, so you can have a larger ship. And then it also increases your max from 500 up to 250 additional. So the first one you build is 750, so on and so forth. You can get up to 6 of them. This is not the only use for grav cores. I'll talk about that later. We don't need to talk about that now. It's not relevant right now. All right, so we're going to continue building this bad boy. Because we've got 3 days, 17 hours to get the hell out, or we get the hell dead. Pretty straightforward. So the base is almost done. Some things we're going to want on this. Chem fuel power generator, for sure. And then a biofuel refinery, for sure. As well as, like, some shelves and the like. So that we can store our stuff. Alright, Mr. Runeloth. Is there more steel out here? I believe there is a little bit more steel out here for you to fetch. Go fetch it. Oh, that poor vulture's still downed. It's not going to die, though. So at least there's that. Alright, Lich is already asleep. And we have got most of the skin of the ship built. It's a good day. I think what I'm going to do is actually change just a little bit. So we have a little bit more space. Alright, 3 days, 8 hours. Some other things that we can consider. Breaking down steel things for materials. Because that is often faster than mining. Depending on mining skill and mining yield. Right, bud? You have to think so. And then we're going to want a butcher table. And we're going to want a kitchen. Just so the chat knows, I'm not going to be answering questions that aren't immediately relevant to what I'm working on. Because I know there's 1,000 questions, and I can't answer them all, so I won't be. We'll get there, just wait. I'm interpreting these questions at this point as, are we there yet? And no, we're not. Okay. So Runeloth is going to go for some of the crash-landed steel that's out here, so we don't run out of building material. And Klein is finishing up on the outer, or the ship substructure now. Alright, steel doors. There we go. And you are getting... oh, steel from over here. Just keep building, just keep building. Now, one thing that you might notice is diagonals actually have a visible diagonal wall here. It's technically not diagonal walls. These are where the holes are. It just forms a diagonal pattern to look nice. It is airtight though, so that at least is answered. Alright, here is our thruster. You really only need one thruster. And the ship is called the Grav Runner. Who would have guessed? Alright, I'm not going to worry about the pilot console right now. The next thing I want to do is to build... I'm going to move the Grav engine up a little bit. And then stick a... oh, I don't have that done. Let's see. I want to stick a chem gen in here. And then I will stick a small chem tank there. Ruinloth, is there other steel to grab? Because if not, I don't really need you competing with the same steel for Klein, because that doesn't actually help us much. So let's deconstruct some stuff for steel. Steel is steel. We're going to steal it. Airlocks only matter when you're in space. We're not going to space. Again, getting ahead of yourselves here. This thing is a puddle jumper. We're going to jump a puddle. Otherwise, the mechs are going to kill us. We're not trying to get to space. We're just trying to get to the next town over so we don't get super murdered, as I said. Our regular door is airtight. There is a new building modifier here of whether things are airtight or not. They're airtight given that they're closed. If they're open, they're not airtight. There's new types of doors. We'll get into it later, but it's not relevant for what I'm working on right now, so I'm not talking about it. It'd be a spoiler. All right, so you're grabbing chem tanks from up here. Ruinloth, what are you going for? This steel. Okay. Because we are indeed running out of material here. So we're going to need to scrap it from the surroundings soon. Alright, so here we go. Scrapping. Oh, you're grabbing packers of raw mills? Yeah, don't worry about that. Don't care about that right now. A visitor. Yoko Bauman. Alright, Klein, you are grabbing steel from up here, so there is steel up here. Sweet. Ruinloth will get the other batch. Would it be faster to mine steel? Depends on your skill of your miners, but in many cases, no. You spend a lot more time mining than you do deconstructing. You can strip a ruin of a few hundred steel a lot faster. Again, this depends on mining skill. If you're mining 20 with a drill arm, that obviously is different. Alright, Bowman, you're just visiting? Okay. As long as you don't bug us, I guess we won't bug you. There are other things that are nearby that I've overlooked for steel. We got 6 columns, all the walls. None of the stelays. Stelays aren't made of steel. Looking good. And Glitch is going back at it. Biofuel refining is the bare minimum research that I need to really get out of here. And we have got 2 days. So we've spent 3/5 of our time already. Okay, bye-bye, visitor. You're probably wondering what the hell we're doing here. Alright, deconstructing steel wall. Instead, let's have you go over here. And take this apart. I could have made the ship footprint a little bit smaller. Maybe I was a bit too... Oh, that's slate. A bit too overeager, but I think we can limp off this map tile regardless, so I'm not too concerned. Alright, you're going swimming? Sure. As is Glitch. So now, if you take a look at their needs, the recreation needs, we've got solitary relaxation, which is, in this case, in the form of swimming. Also makes you wet, which is funny, because they complain about being wet. It's like, but you jumped in the pool. okay. I mean, yeah. Soaking wet. Yeah, that's what happens when you swim. Silly billies. Alright, Klein. Ruinloth, you are going to go for the steel columns next. And then Klein, you have some building to do. No more social time. We have less than 2 days. You go away? I don't want to kill you, but, like, piss off. It's my ship. I'm not a guardian of the galaxy. We don't need raccoons here. Alright. Here we go. So, pilot console. The bare minimum to fly is controls, a fuel tank, and a thruster. The other things we're going to need is chem fuel, right? So biofuel refining is needed. And then in that vein, we are also going to need a butcher table. So once Glitch researches biofuel refining, we are going to need to hunt and butcher some critters, turn them into chem fuel, and get the hell out. Now that the ship has some hull and structure, we are going to bunk in here. Jane style. Alright, Ruinloth, what are you up to? You should be hauling that steel over. Alright, Klein is heading down to some walls construct. And then all of our stuff are now underneath a roof. Alright, Ruinloth, did you grab all that steel? You did. Cool. So now we have 142 steel, which is a good amount of steel. That's going to allow us to build some needed things. And we have our first hostile critter here, a sparrow. Well, little sparrow, I guess I select you as tribute. More meals. Sure. Oh, you didn't even haul that back? Lazy. Alright, we're almost done with biofuel refining, and I think it would be wise for Ruinloth to have a nice big pile of corpses for us to butcher by the time we get biofuel refining done. So that is his next task after he finishes hauling those meals. To play it safe, because I'm not really willing to kill, like, a whole bunch of scary critters, I'll go after the boomalopes, which are a little bit easier to kill than bison or buffalo. Dumping stockpile. Dump them here. Oh, you know what? I take that back. Boomalopes explode with fire, and grasslands are super flammable. Alright, so this is going to be animal corpses. But... shoot. I'll start with turkeys. As much as I would like bigger kills, it's not worth the risk. Alright, go shoot, dude. Go on your turkey hunt. Now, what I can do is wait for nightfall and have him attempt to clear out the boomalopes. But the problem is he doesn't move at, like, full speed. So it's a bit of an issue with his movement speed penalties. Raccoons will do. Really, anything that we can hunt works for me. You're hauling 21 steel? Really? Try again. Alright, Glitch. Actually, sleep is fine. But maybe clean the barracks first. Because we don't need any mental breaks at this point. And Ruinloth, you're going to get the last of the steel. I probably don't need to salvage any more steel from the countryside. I think we're good on that front. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Odyssey Grav Runners, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind I've asked for no spoilers, so if you have a question that would include a spoiler, ask in Discord instead. If you would like to join Discord, a link can be found in the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow Grav Runners.